Lando Norris is still in denial and experiencing the 5 stages of grief here after losing his beloved World Drivers' Championship fight against Max Verstappen last weekend in Las Vegas. We're going to go over some of his comments after the fact, his post-race interview, and what he said after hearing that Max said that he would have won even earlier the championship in the McLaren and possibly even the Ferrari. So let's get started with the interview from Lando Norris, where he copes quite a bit. Okay, and it's not even cope right away, but you can already tell he's like it's so hard for him to say these words.
You've had a mega season. You were fighting for a world title.
Yeah.
Not happy.
I mean, I'll start off by saying congrats to Max.
What's that
Yeah,
smirk on your
I'm
face?
disappointed that I'm out of it, but
What's that smirk on your face?
Max deserved
What?
to win it. He
Yeah, there you go. Spit it out. That's right. Spit it the fuck out. That's
drove
right.
a better season than,
Yes,
than
he
we did
did
and than I did.
That's right. Yes.
And
Yes. Spit it
yeah,
out then,
he
bro.
deserved it more than anyone else. You know, Max just doesn't have
That's right. That's right.
doesn't have a weakness.
I mean, it's not that he has weaknesses, but we saw plenty of times, pretty much only Charles Leclerc give him a good fight in attacking and defending. Sometimes when he was around Hamilton, which was very few and far between this season, he had good moments, but it seemed like Lando just couldn't figure him out for most of the season.
When he's got the best car, he dominates, and when he's not got the best car, he's still just there always, and always
Gives him
there to make your life
a little bit of props there.
tough and difficult, you know. So he drove a very good year, and
Yes, he did.
Yeah, can't fault him.
And we're going to take a look at the entire season. But first, we're going to go to Verstappen's claim here. So he said after the championship, and who knows when this was. This could have been during his time quenching his thirst after the race. You know what I mean? So maybe that's when this happened. So who knows if it's even like legit. I mean, it's right. He's correct. But let's get to what he said. So he said, when asked if he could have won the title with the McLaren, he replied, yes, even earlier, so I would have been further ahead. With the Ferrari, pretty much the same, I think. The Mercedes, no, I think it would have been trickier. That's pretty accurate. Mercedes was only good for the best car, we'll say, for maybe four races maybe this season, including Vegas. So it was in weird conditions, primarily the cold and the wet that they were good in, but that's legit. The Ferrari was top 3 for all of the season essentially, so he probably would have won in that car. And the McLaren dude for sure. So Lando responds and says, the headline here is Lando Norris shuts down Max Verstappen on even earlier McLaren claim. So Lando pretty much said that there's no way that Max would have won in the McLaren. He said, no, definitely not, when asked if Verstappen would have won the title driving the McLaren. Cap and cope, dude. That is this right here. That is Lando in denial. He's still at the first stage of grief. It's going to be a long offseason. He's going to have plenty of time to work his way through the steps. But eventually we're going to have to get to acceptance, dude, because it's over, okay? It's done, all right? I mean, no one ever in history of Formula One has ever come back from the size deficit I had. No one ever. Well, maybe that's because you kept adding on to the deficit, little bro. Maybe that's because after Miami, you were like the closest you were all season, and then never got any closer after that. Only got farther away, and I believe in Silverstone was the biggest gap. Like you can see here, it was like 84 points, something like that. So yeah, there's a reason nobody overcame that gap, is because you had all season while you had the best car. Move it after Imola, it was clear that McLaren was right on the tail of Verstappen and probably had a better car. He was just a little bit better skill-wise that weekend. So we can assume even from week 6 on when McLaren won, but Max would have won if not for the safety car. So we'll say at week 7, we'll say Verstappen had the best car for 6 weeks, and from 7 through 22, so that's 15 races. For 15 races, Lando and McLaren had it. Give or take 1 or 2 races here that sometimes Ferrari were better, sometimes Mercedes were better. But for the most part, if any of those other teams, Ferrari or Mercedes, were better, then McLaren was still better than Red Bull. And the only reason that Red Bull was higher was because of Verstappen. So yeah, the reason nobody overcame that gap is because you kept adding to it. And most of the time, the person contending does just add to it and can't cut it down. I mean, you have to look at it. Again, we'll go back to the stats here. I believe Verstappen's only DNF was round 3 in Australia when they did have the best car, which would have hurt his points even more. So it just proves Lando even more wrong about the whole beginning of the season being that big of a deal. Because if it was that big of a deal, he missed out on an easy 25 points in Australia. He had pole and he was going to win. So he lost 25 points there. That was his only DNF. And to Lando's credit, his only DNF, I believe, was in Hungary. Is that it? Hungary? I think these are just sprint points. I think that's the weekend that they clashed and he DNF'd. Um, and even that can't be right on that weekend that he got more points. I have to look at that, but it says he got more points. Oh, was it this one? No, was it? No, it wasn't Zandvoort. What is this? Week 11. Oh, it's all fucked up here. Austria. Okay, it was Austria. That's what it was. It was Austria, and it was also a sprint weekend, so that makes more sense. I thought I was between Hungary and Austria. I always get this mixed up, but the point remains that they each had one DNF, so it's not like anything was that crazy. And on the weekend, Lando had a DNF. He was lucky enough it was a sprint weekend, and Max got 0 points. So the point is just it's such cope, and it's so sad to hear too, because again, me personally, after the Miami Grand Prix, I was happy for Lando, dude. I was like, great for him to get a win. He earned it. I didn't even count it as like a fake win because of the safety car or anything. Total credit for that. Great race. And then right after, they just became so unbearable, just so annoying. And Zach Brown and Andrea Steller were just as bad as fucking Lando was. And out of all of them, Oscar didn't say a fucking word. He just kept his mouth shut, did team orders the whole year, and sat in second, which I feel bad for him because he kind of wasted the year now because Lando couldn't do shit anyway. So let's go on and see what the interaction between Verstappen and Zach Brown after the race, where Max is feeling himself and fucking throws a couple shots, and Zach Brown,
Congratulations.
oh, congrats, man. Look at his face. He's like, you took that from me. That was our championship year.
Pushed us all the way. We did, but yeah.
He said he pushed us all the way.
You earned it. And
You
4
earned
World
it.
Championships. Now you beat my Senna guy.
He said 4 world champions now. You beat my Senna guy. He beat my Senna guy. Why does this guy remind me of like a weird Joe Rogan? I don't know.
And like you said, before I could only win it in the fastest car.
Exactly. Got him.
This year has been a little bit different.
Well done.
Oh yeah, well done. He's just trying to walk away now. He's like, oh shit, before he fucking roasts me even more, let me.
I was going to say,
Walk
just
away.
Exactly.
Exactly. A fake laugh. Oh god, I'm exposed.
This year has been a little bit
done.
different.
Yeah, you shouldn't have came over on TV to fucking to say congratulations, dude. So that's the problem though, is the McLaren culture now is cry about fucking everything. That's the culture now. And people will say, oh, well, Red Bull does the same thing. Red Bull is more vocal in like calling out teams for like cheating this and that. Christian Horner isn't like, all right, first of all, Helmut Marko is the biggest yapper in all of the paddock. So we'll get that out of the way first. He's the biggest yapper out of anybody. That's because he got nothing better to do with that fucking gangly eye. But he's the biggest yapper. Other than that, dude, Zach Brown and Andrea Stella have been so unbearable this season, bro, and have just ruined any chance of McLaren building like a strong fan base that actually isn't just like a bunch of NPC Lando fangirls. You know what I mean? Because if you listen to what they say, dude, it's just like, shut up, man. You don't have to bitch and moan about everything. It just gets so tired. And now it's all over, too. It's over now. And it's still like, no, he wouldn't have won in my car. He certainly would have, bro. He absolutely would have. Such cope. I don't know whether he just has to tell himself this to sleep well at night. I don't really know. I don't think if the tables are turned, I don't think Max would care as much. He'd just be happy for him and move on. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. I'm just so sick of McLaren always being the ones that are crying about shit and always having the cope and all this bullshit. Dude, just say it how it is. He would have won in any of those top 3 cars. Honestly, probably even in the Mercedes this year. Probably even in the Mercedes. Yeah, I just whatever, dude. The gap was as low as 52 points, and before the sprint in Brazil was 44 points. So it was low going to the last, was that 5 races from Brazil? Yeah, Brazil and then 4 races. So Brazil and then a triple header. He had 4 more races to make it 44 points, and then got fucking trounced when Verstappen went from 17th to 1st, while Lando's fucking it off around turn 1 going wide again. Just such cope, man. Just let it go. You're not as good. It was very clear that you weren't as good. It was clear that you had the better car for most of the season and simply just aren't as good. I just don't know who has to tell him that. Nobody at McLaren's going to tell him that. So I guess I'll say it on deaf ears. But somebody has to, right? Somebody fucking has to. It's just ridiculous. And everybody's making their fucking faceless videos about fucking Ferrari and this and that. we're talking about the real shit because Lando has been crying all fucking year about Max. McLaren crying about fucking Max and Red Bull all season. Dude, there was at least for me, you guys can tell me what you think. It was never a doubt in my mind Max was going to win that championship. It literally would have taken multiple DNFs in a row. And now after the fact, knowing that you had the best car for all those weeks, to say, "Oh no, he wouldn't have won in our car." Just get over it, bro. Here, let's go back to the graphic. Let's work our way down to you can get angry, like, "Oh, I just fucking hate him. I'm going to kick his ass." Bargaining like, "Oh, maybe next year we'll have a better car and we'll be ahead of them to start, and they won't have that jump start." And then depression, like, "Oh no, I suck either way. I'm not good. I'm not better." And then acceptance, yeah, you'll never be better than them. That's the acceptance stage. So yeah, Lando Norris in denial. Still coping. It's over, little bro. It's over. It's been over. I don't know how to explain it to you. Time to move your way through the stages of grief here. Let's get to acceptance for the end of next year, or it's going to be a really tough start to the year when you have the better car and Max still beats you. That's it for me. I will have my predictions for Qatar tomorrow, maybe. Not a big fan of this race. Not really looking forward to the weekend. Me personally, I hate the track. I really don't fucking like that track at all. Just like driving, I just don't like it at all. So I'm not really looking forward to it. And the Drivers' Championship's over. But the Constructors is still very much alive. Most likely McLaren will win it because they're going to have a good car this weekend. But we'll talk about that in the prediction videos. Like the video if you like the video. I'll be back tomorrow with my predictions and a preview of the Qatar Grand Prix. Until then, peace.